All right, Lauren, I'm Nick. I'm going to get going here. If that's okay with you guys. Amy, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for joining. This class today is Smart Home Systems by Lutron, Caseta, Radio Rod 2, and Radio Rod 2 Select is what we're going to talk about today. I want to thank Northeast for giving us the opportunity to speak to you all today. Thank you so much for taking the time to come. With me today, Lauren Jennings from the marketing department at Yusen Associates. I'm with Yusen, if I didn't say that already. Also with me is Nick Hart. Nick is my counterpart down in the Connecticut market. He calls on all the Northeast locations down there. And Nick is our resident Lutron expert on the supply team. So he's fact checking me. And some housekeeping. I guess there's a couple things to think about. One is the chat box, very important to ask questions through the chat box today. Nick's watching that and will insert questions you have or interrupt me or any way he wants to do it. So ask questions in the chat box. That would be great. I guess always mute your phones, mute your computers. That's helpful so everybody can hear. And then the giveaway today is a $10 gas card. So in the chat box, Lauren's going to put in a link so that you can go in and redeem the gas card. And if you're on your phone and you can't make chat box work, Lauren's email is in the invite to the meeting today. So she'd be happy to take care of that through email. Did I miss anything?
No, sir. Sounds great.
On it.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys. So today I'd like to touch on some new things from Lutron to keep you up to speed on what's going on there. We did say this was a 2.0 training, so we are going to dive in maybe a little less, believe it or not. I'm going to talk a little bit less product, a little more about programming, and getting inside and seeing some of the features and certainly benefits of a Caseta system. So welcome to my basement. This is where we shoot all our little my little videos, where we do meetings like this. And I've kind of clearly thrown a bunch of stuff on the desk here, but we're going to cover a lot of ground. Again, new stuff here. We've got some Rod 2 system here. We're going to do a pairing. We're going to dive into the app, and my house where I am now, we've got a number of devices installed, and so we can fool around with that and see if we can annoy the family tonight. I am using my new camera here, so we're going to do a little up close and personal on one of the new dimmers that we have, so you can see that in action. We're a little bit later. We're going to jump to Nick. Nick is going to do a demo of his house. He's got a cool setup with a ring doorbell to help show a little bit of integration and how some of those features work. So diving in, what is new with Lutron? And here's dimmer number one. We've got some wall box updates. If you're familiar with the old, God, I can't believe I didn't bring one, Diva with the slide on the side, STCL153P. This is the new Sonata, and I'm real quick going to do this to you, show you how the Sonata work. It's no longer a mechanical slide. It is, and this is just over here on my desk. You can see this glowing. The light bar right here glows. You tap it wherever you want it. You slide up your finger to wherever the desired light level is. Obviously, you can see it changing. You can just stab at it, and it's a press on and press off like that. That is the new Sonata. So those are hitting. Northeast certainly stocks these now, but it's really designed to probably replace ultimately the Diva. It's a little bit more money, but we think it's a pretty cool looking device. Second dimmer. This is really a big shift and change and addition into a really new technology for Lutron. MA Pro. MA indicates that it's from the Maestro series. Maestro is a true digital dimmer, which meaning if you recall.
Well, so now what? Do we go back after GE?
Rich Kazarian, let's mute him. Here we go. Sorry about that. So it's a digital dimmer. So it means we could connect this, hardwire it to multiple remotes. So you can have full switch and dim from up to 9 locations in addition to the dimmer. But the real trick with Maestro Pro is that this is a forward and a reverse phase dimmer. So what this does is it'll work on incandescent, certainly LED lamp loads, it'll do magnetic low voltage, it'll also do electronic low voltage. So MA Pro is if you really can only have one dimmer on your truck, this would be the way to go because it covers everything that you might encounter in a typical, this is specifically speaking residential applications, MA Pro. The other cool thing about the Pro, and by the way, I have all these in a Claro cover plate. If you're familiar with Claro, it's their screwless plate, very nice looking, finish to it. But the Maestro Pro, all the face, the plastic will come off. So you could go ahead and install this in white. Maybe the homeowner decides, yeah, let's go fire engine red or something like that. All that plastic, you wouldn't have to change the wiring component. Pop off the plastic, replace it with the new color, and off you go. So that's very handy and very nice if the final finish colors haven't been selected on a project. MA Pro. Also in the same family, which we jump to for Radio Raw, is the RRD Pro. So in systems for a Radio Raw system, whether it's select or full-blown RAW 2, this does the same thing, forward and reverse phase, and right out of the box, it will self-select. You can force it to go one way or the other, but when you're utilizing either the Pro or the Radio Raw Pro or the Maestro Pro, these really help mitigate those issues where you've got some stubborn LED lights that are flickering or causing trouble, not performing well, homeowners not happy. These kind of devices can really solve those problems for you and get you out of there, get you paid and get you off the job. I do want to add and show you Dahlia. I don't know if you can get a good look at that. Dahlia, we get some chuckles on this one, but this control is really a modern version on the rotary dimmer. And why I like this dimmer is because people still like this aesthetic. It's a very simple thing, round knob. It is preset. You turn it to where you want it, press it on, press it off. This also has a nice little glow coming out of the back here. So, and it's a nice bright, not bright, but it's color temp is quite light. Looks much better than the old yellow glow that you used to get from either the Diva or the old, actually you never did get it out of the rotary. So Dahlia, what I also want to point out while we're right here is this little switch here. In all, what you're most likely familiar with C.L dimmers, and C.L dimmers from Lutron have always had this little wheel down here. You'd see the little wheel or this little lever. And what this does is when you are installing LED lamps, if you've noticed this issue as you dim them down, maybe you got a pack of 6 on the ceiling, one or others will not all dim uniformly. This is a low-end trim. So that little wheel there will help you raise the floor. So when you physically dim to its lowest level, you can raise the bottom so you can cut out all the flickering, the problems, the dropouts. So I just wanted to point that out since it's right there on the face of this dimmer. What I also want to point out, and what's really going on with Lutron, is they're getting away. The part numbers will remain. You'll see C.L or CL in all the part numbers that are suitable for LED, incandescent, halogen, and other loads like that. But they're changing the nomenclature. They're now calling this LED+. C.L used to stand for compact fluorescent and LED. Nobody's using it in compact fluorescent, so they're really moving beyond that. So look for LED+. You'll see it on the cartons now. That's everywhere. It's the same thing as C.L. And so don't worry about that. It's still going to do the correct dimming for all those loads that you're familiar with. Really quick, one last one here, MSCL. So we know it's Maestro. CL is for C.L type loads, and this is an aux sensor. But this will do, again, those typical residential type loads. That's the new thing, is they never had a proper forward phase dimmer to do kind of residential loads with an aux sensor. So where would you use this? This might be great in the home office where, you know, a kid's bedroom might be great where they never shut the lights off, that type of thing. So right there, a Maestro aux sensor that does C.L type loads. So I did want to mention real quick, you know, here's a whole, you know, Chris Newport would be mad at me if I didn't mention them, but there's a whole series of Maestro style occupancy sensors. And the key with Lutron, very easy to program. That is, you know, historically, one of the biggest complaints from contractors is that aux sensors are A, expensive, and B, difficult to program. So Lutron went after that, and it really brought out a great series of infrared and ultrasonic occupancy sensors, really both for residential applications and commercial. We use a lot of these. I use these in my house, you know, the half bathroom, the garage lights when you're walking through, utility room, those types of things. These are great for, and they're very, very inexpensive and great to work with. So I want to jump real quickly into a conversation about Radio Rod 2 Select and Caseta, and talk to you about what's going on and what's new with Caseta. Let's remember, why would we want to use, and this goes on all the time, the question of Caseta. Why would I use Caseta versus why would I use Rod 2 Select? They seem pretty similar. You know, what are the key attributes and what are the differences? So really, you know, here's remember what that Maestro dimmer looks like? Very clean, fresh, digital looking control with the LED indicator lights on the side. Here's your Caseta dimmer right there. So it's definitely a different aesthetic, no question about it. There are some minor technical differences to them in you know, certain features, but you know, nothing really that you need to worry about in terms of the basic devices. You know, both function very, very similarly. But remember that all these Radio Rod and Caseta have the capability to pair to a Pico. This happens to be a little 4-button Pico, and I don't know if everybody knows what a Pico is, but a Pico, little battery device. Here's one behind a cover plate like that. But all the Caseta and all Rod 2 Select have the capability of pairing to that little device. So what I'd like to do is take a quick second just to pair this Pico with this dimmer here. This freaks out the camera a little bit, but for some reason I had it dim to the bottom. But that's just a standard Radio Rod dimmer like that again has the capability of communicating with a Pico. What we found is contractors almost universally love the idea of being able to create a quick 3-way without having to run wire. There's apparently lots of reasons why this is great. You can do it very quickly. You know, imagine you know, getting a homeowner has just finished their kitchen and would like a 3-way switch at the other side of the kitchen. The last thing you would want to do is to start trying to pull wire from point A to point B. So very quickly, just how this may be a repeat. Press and hold the off button on the control, and you'll notice, you probably can't see it, I should have flipped cameras. The LEDs go into a flash mode, and what they're telling you is that I'm ready to pair, and I'm just going to press and hold this dimmer, this Pico, and it'll go into pairing mode and say, hey, I'm ready to pair. And there you go. What we're getting is a visual confirmation that, okay, great, we're now paired. I can take this, go across Mrs. Jones's kitchen, put it on the wall, and we are good to go. And now I have complete control over this. Okay, so a couple things to remember. This works both for Raw 2 Select, Radio Raw, also works certainly for Caseta. I'm going to shut that off so it doesn't bother the camera. Couple things, couple differences. Here's a fan speed control that is available with Caseta. I actually just stole a sample and put one in our bedroom. I'm going to try that out. What the great thing about this is now you can take a Pico. There's a specific fan style Pico. And instead of this is like a wall switch now and over by the door. Now I can pair it to this Pico, bring the Pico over to bedside, and now we can control the fan in the middle of the night, which is quite a nice little luxury when it's hot or cold, one way or the other. So fan speed control part of Caseta. And just real quick again, throw in any questions into the chat box if you want me to stop, re-explain, etc. Real quick, one difference, so lamp module, and the lamp module is exactly that. It's for lamps. Right behind the couch, you can put two lamps in, one on each side. There's a plug for each. That's the Caseta version, and this is the Raw 2 Select version. So a little lamp module, fits down, tucked away, out of the way. We do very, very well with those. Last but not least, the fan speed colors. So colors is a big deal. Caseta comes in 4 colors, and Raw 2 Select, I don't know, Nick, tell me how many colors you can get. I don't remember.
Off the top of my head, 26.
26. Okay, so a lot more capability, flexibility with Raw 2 Select in terms of colors, which as you get into the higher level systems, preferences and the demands of color and things like that really start to play a more important role in that. So what we're showing here's our little Raw 2 Select system, is the Smart Bridge. So this is all well and good that we can connect a dimmer to a Pico. That's great. By the way, I could connect this Pico to every dimmer in my house, every Caseta dimmer in my house, and I could have one Pico to control all. I can pair multiple Picos to this dimmer. So instead of just one 3-way, I could make up to 9 connections to that particular dimmer. So there's a lot of flexibility, a lot of capability. But what really brings it home is how we use the bridge. The bridge, they're black if they're for Raw 2, they're white if they're for Caseta. And 2 big differences are this. For Raw 2 Select, you can connect up to 4 additional auxiliary bridges. So these have a range of 30 feet in all directions. So there you go, 30, 60, 90, 120. You can get really spread out and into much larger spaces with the Raw 2. Caseta, you can have 1 main bridge plus 1 additional auxiliary. So now you can get out, further, 30 plus 30 plus 30. You're really getting out again to that 90 plus feet, which is important because those bridges must see and be able to receive the signal from the dimmers that you've installed in the space. So a couple things to remember, and I can put this out and email it to everybody if it's useful. There are, just a quick 1-page description of what's different about Raw 2 Select in terms of capacities. But Select does up to 100 devices, and Caseta will do up to 75 devices. So as you're thinking about which system would you go with, what system would work for your customer or client, think 75 devices, 2,500 square feet, maybe a little more for Caseta, and Raw 2 Select will take you from 2,500 to maybe 3,500, 4,000 square feet. Those are absolutely not hard. rigid dimensions and sizes of projects, but keep those 75 devices in mind, keep that 100 devices in mind. And there are systems higher up than this that will do many, many more devices. So there's really no ultimate limit. We do have a system for you for that. But let's jump to programming, because I want to do a quick tour and show you how we're doing on time. Oh man, we're almost out of time. We only have 10 minutes to go. So before I jump away from here, I do want to mention occupancy sensors. Both Caseta and Ratu Select utilize. Here's your wall sensor. Here's your ceiling 360-degree ceiling sensor. These are really important, great. I already mentioned the garage application. If I wanted those garage lights to be on my system, I could do that with a switch or dimmer and an aux sensor here. So lights come on when the garage doors go up or somebody comes in that space. But motion is definitely an important thing. One thing I'm failing to mention tonight, which is the newest thing, was actually in the promotion, is Lutron has come out with an outdoor rated switch, what's the part number, Nick?
Part number is a PD15OUTBL.
There you go. So that outdoor switch is hardened. It's filled with potting, so it's fully capable of being out in the rain and snow. And now we can pair a Pico to it. Now we can get it on the system. And hang on, I'm just going to share my phone here. 3, 2, 1. So we could take a quick look. That's not going to be good.
You are sharing, Dave. We can see the contacts. You're good.
Okay, great. Thank you. I was just trying to handle the audio there. I was getting some feedback. Okay, so here's my phone, everybody. I know that's a lot of unopened email. I know. I get crap for that every time I do. I should back up. No, I don't want to do that. I keep all my home automation. I don't know why I'm showing you. All my home automation in the same place. And this kind of gives you a little idea of what you can integrate with, at least what we use it for. A lot of music we pipe through the Sonos, but certainly Lutron, and in this case, Nest. Nick is going to show you his Ring in a second here, but I want to take a quick run through the system. This is the opening. I actually added these dimmers over the last weekend in my little basement here. Had a little different plan, but just to show you, that it's happening. I don't know. Hopefully you can see it's dimming. You can shut that off, turn it on, dim it. So these there's 3 zones that I'm working with in this space right here. And in fact, what I would like to do is I took these out. I don't know if you can see them in the back, but very quickly we're going to add a quick zone here. How I do that is I go up to the gear, add a device, and that same procedure that I used to pair the Pico and the dimmer here. This is an in-wall dimmer. Here you can see the instructions. So I'm just going to press and hold, and it's going to go into that same mode, that little flash pairing mode. And as soon as it does, it asks me what room it's in. So let's find, I'm in the basement. Let's be optimistic and call it the exercise area. It's asking me what type of lights. This will help us identify and group lights. So I'm going to say ceiling lights. There you go. Now there's already existing lights in there, and it's showing me what they are. And what's happening here is there's also Picos that are already down in this space, and it's going to pair these lights with the Pico automatically. We can change that later, but let's call it, I want to change this name. Let's just call it accent so we know what that is. Okay, next. there's that confirmation. Up, down, up, down, up, down. I don't know if you can see that, but the lights are flashing and telling us, okay, we've made our connection. Now it's asking add another device, or I'm done adding devices. If you were programming an entire home, you could run through it, just keep going, adding. You'll see it would accumulate up at the top of the app. Nope, I'm done adding devices. This takes a second because it has to think about it and go back to the mothership and then back here to say that they've added these. So really quickly, I want to now show you that we've added that, show you that we can control it. So there it is. Now that zone called accent, we can turn it up, turn it down, do whatever we got to do. Also, we've created some picos. I did this earlier. They're paired. I think it's this one. We could shut them all off. Yep. So there we go. So that pico is paired to all those zones. So up and down we go. So this is, you'll see, I'm just scrolling through here. These are all the devices that are on the system. We can quickly do a scene, add a scene, you know, pick, I don't know, let's watch TV. We need a name. You can't make a mistake. It makes you do this. So TV, how about that? Very quickly, you're going to get it. So it asks you, all right, which of these zones are we talking about? Well, where were we? We're up in the basement. So let's use all three. It's asking me, you know, what level do I want? Recessed, TV. Let's call it done. There you go. You've added a scene. So now if we go down here, there we go. We have a TV scene. If I hit TV, whatever those pre-selected light levels were, that's where these dimmers in this space just went. Okay, so that's really quickly scenes. I don't know if there's a limit on number of scenes. You probably know this, Nick.
50. 50. 50.
Way more scenes than you're likely to ever need. One of the big tricks here is schedules, and one of the big things, and I see where the clock is ticking here, but getting rid of time clocks or adding the capability of timing. If you wanted to add a schedule, we could just name it blah, 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 very quickly. Next, you could do time of day. We could do something different on the weekends. We can do time of day or sunrise and sunset, maybe, you know, maybe 1 hour before sunrise, I want something to happen. You pick what lights you want, so on and so forth. But you can do pretty much any combination of these things, and do, you know, many, I don't know. Do you also know, Nick, how many schedules you can do?
Also 50. And if you do a corresponding on, you need to do the associated off, which is the biggest and most common mistake we have. And the most often question I get, you make an on, you need to create the off.
Yep. So we've made the schedule. What he is saying is, for example, my son, I turn a light on him when in the dark season at 5:40 a.m. and then I turn it off at 6:15. There is no on off as part of any of these events. It's just on or off. So so there you go. Hopefully that makes sense. Really quick, I want to speak about geofencing. What decides location? So what we're talking about is we can have our lights do. I still don't need to hold it up to the camera. We can have our lights do something if we pierce this circle. So that's geofencing. Whether we're coming or going, we can create a scene. So let's say I want to turn lights on before I come home, or any family member. The app works with up to 4 devices, and you know, so they can all be indicating location. And you can, once you drive past that bubble, maybe we turn on all the exterior lights, maybe a pathway of light. The reverse works. If you're leaving, you go through the edge of the bubble, then you are, maybe you get asked, hey, you left some lights on, you want me to shut them off, yes or no? That's kind of more of an energy and a reminder type feature. But that is geofencing and can be very handy and very, very cool. Nick, we're a little bit over here, but give Nick about, I don't know, 3-4 minutes. He can show you very quickly his Ring application. Go ahead, Nick.
Yep, so I'm broadcasting here, guys. We want to show the capabilities of the system itself. So no different than Dave. I live with this every single day. These are my 3 kids. I pick on them often, but my setup, my Lutron right here, right? I have my Ring also connected. When Dave was in his system, you would have saw that Ring integration is part of it. So the biggest reason I bring this up is there's a couple questions I always get asked. Can I install a Caseta switch on my front porch floodlight that has a motion sensor? And the bottom line is no. The microprocessors struggle to be able to tell the difference between the two. So I have my Ring right now. This is my backyard, my dog. Don't mind that pile of wood. We are demoing the basement right now. I'm going to scroll back here to last night. As I'm scrolling, you're going to see 11 o'clock last night. We're going to go a little bit further. I'm sitting there. I'm going to let the dog out at some point. It's 1 o'clock at night, as shown right there. Bam. Bottom of that screen, you see a little furry friend. That's a skunk. I'm hoping my dog never meets. At night, I do not need to start my morning with a tomato bath. I'm going to rewind that really quickly so we go back. Again, when he comes in, my Ring floodlight picks it up, light turns on. Right side of the screen, you also see my Caseta outdoor floodlight kicks on. So I can integrate my house lights with my Ring devices at the same time. Again, this is live last night at whatever time it is, 1:24 p.m. I'm going to flip this guy around real quick. The great thing about that, as that guy goes away, you see there 1:37, those lights now turn off. So it stays on for 15 minutes. And I create that inside the app. It's a great security feature to have, something that I want to talk about. The other one I want to showcase kind of quickly, this is our front yard with our Ring doorbell. A lot of people nowadays are having issues with break-ins, right? You got somebody checking the car to see if that is potentially open to break in. I have it so if somebody gets in within my first panel closest to my door, my fence panel, if they get within that, let's say 15 feet, automatically turns on my front porch light. So if they are bold enough to go check my car, I'm hoping to deter that potential thief from even going any further. So that Ring integration is a pretty big deal. Dave, you did a fantastic job. But the idea, guys, here is don't understand everything. Just know that there are capabilities above and beyond maybe what you're used to inside Caseta, and that's what we're trying to showcase. I'll go back on mute, Dave. Did a fantastic job. Finish up here.
Great. Thank you, everybody. So we really scratched the surface. We will definitely be doing more trainings like this in the future with Northeast. So we will definitely let you know when we're doing that. We appreciate your time and thank you for joining. If there's a lot of resources available to you from my phone number one, Lutron is fabulous with technical support. We could do walkthroughs. We could get you started. I also want to mention what's called Pro and being a Pro contractor. There's some great benefits of being that, being in the club, as it were, with Lutron, and getting the first, a number of benefits, mostly which most beneficial is being the first to know things and what's happening with smart home technology. So I'll put my contact information into the chat box. Thank you so much, Northeast. Appreciate all the time. And sorry we've gone over 36. Whoops. Have a great night.
Thank you, Amy. Yeah. Thank you, Northeast.
Thanks, Amy.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Lauren.
I'll hang around for a minute if anybody wants to ask a question.